Welcome in, everybody, to another Tee to Green Extra. I'm here with Ryan Hasenauer, the Director of Marketing from Batavia Downs Gaming and Hotel. I'm Brian Koziol. Of course, Ryan and Batavia Downs, a big part of our golf majors contest every year. And I know a lot of you loyal listeners who look forward to that. And we've had great turnout over the last couple of seasons. Those will be coming. So we'll have our first major coming up in August, the PGA Championship. California just this week, Ryan, approved. Go ahead and plan. The PGA Championship will go on. They did say at the moment now there won't be fans. But we did see live golf last week. As we're recording it this week, the second tournament, the RBC Heritage, is going on in Hilton Head. So it was nice to see live golf. I know Premier League started this week, back going again. So, you can see that here, yes. So we're getting sports. It's not with fans, but for golf and even for soccer, like they had the pumped-in crowd noise on the NBCSN, feed. I think so far I wasn't missing it. Is it better with it? Yes, but I was okay with not seeing it for at least for soccer and golf so far. Some of the sports that I've seen.
Yeah, for soccer, I really enjoyed watching the Bundesliga. Has been back for 3 or 4 weeks now, and it was really fun to watch the first couple weeks with no crowd noise because you could hear the players. And I'm not so excited to hear the swearing, and a lot of it's in German anyway, so I don't understand it. But you could tell that, people are saying like, man on your back, or, I'm open, pass it to me, or, whatever, shouting the other players' names. And that was just really exciting for me to kind of hear and see and be like, if you're a young kid watching, and we always talk about, and I'm sure you guys have too, kids should play multiple sports. You shouldn't just try to specialize in one sport. Being well-rounded means maybe playing several sports. But one thing that's key in any sport, even in golf, because it's you and the caddy, is communication. And you can't. The best teams I ever played on in college for soccer and for lacrosse were the ones that talked the most. And so to see guys at the highest level, the Bundesliga in Germany for soccer, they're talking nonstop. They're letting people know when there's a guy on their back, that they're open, encouraging each other. It's something I think that's important for fans and young fans to see. Of course, now with the pumped-in music, you don't hear as much of it, but it lends a little bit more of the realism to it, I guess. So I don't mind it either way, but I was excited to see it without it.
Yeah, I like hearing those things to learn a little bit more about it. When Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson had their match with Peyton and Brady, some of the best parts of that was hearing them talk. And, part of it, of course, was the trash talk, which you're not going to get in a normal soccer match or, in a normal PGA event. But hearing, like, Phil Mickelson describe, like, here's what I'm thinking as I'm about to hit this chip. Like, here's the grain I see in the grass. Here's why I know the ball is going to do what it does. Like, those sort of things, I think, are some of the insight that people would like to hear. I'm sure come NFL season, we'll never get any of that because the NFL is too sensitive to, hearing cadences or audibles or things like that from the sideline. But for some of these other sports where maybe they would view it as even just, like you said, on the soccer field, just communication. Hey, I'm back here. I got your support, all that sort of things. Like, I think that would be good to hear. As far as why we're having you on here today, of course, is that the Belmont is this weekend on Saturday, and the Belmont happening in New York. And there won't be fans there. Normally, this is an enormous, a 6-figure plus attended event. But I would assume that, why we watch the race for the minute and a half, I'm sure probably for the most part, we can still enjoy what we normally see.
That's right. Because, of course, the big part of this is betting on it, is making a couple wagers. And, we talked about internally here, we just opened up the OTB branches about a week and a half ago in Rochester and then in the Buffalo area because they're 2 different sections of the state. But come Saturday, we're going to be open in all of the OTB branches, even some of the easy bets where you have the betting at the bars and restaurants. Those folks will be open. And if they're open, we're going to have our terminals on inside those places. And again, you can check out westernotb.com for the location near you guys. So free programs, advanced wagering on Friday. And again, there'll be no fans on site at Belmont, but you can make your wager at OTB. And I don't think it'll be too much of a change for a lot of the casual fans. When you and I and Dan were at the Worley branch or at the Niagara Falls branch, and we were making, doing the remotes, you see a lot of people come in, they make their bets, and they leave. There's a hardcore group of people that stick around, and they're there for the whole day, not just betting Belmont, but betting the other tracks that are running that day. So in large part, the people who are here for the casual betting on the Belmont, it's not going to be any different. You're just going to be wearing a mask when you walk in. You're going to make your bet, and you're going to turn around and you're going to probably watch it on NBC later. But there are some key differences this year as in years past. And the biggest one, certainly, is the length of the race. It's usually the test of the champion, 1.5 miles. Now it's 1.1 1/8. It's only going to be around one turn. So they're going to start, just make that one big long turn, and they're going for home. And that's it. So it certainly changes the race because in a lot of these races, there's 2 turns. And, of course, as you know, when you go around a turn in horse racing, that's when you see a lot of those horses, they're straining because they're going 3 wide, 4 wide, 5 wide to try to, improve their position around the outside. So it'll be interesting to see with only one turn if that's an advantage for some of the speed horses in this race. And it's probably going to really play into the strategy that the jockeys have when they're getting their horses ready to go.
Ryan, can you explain to everyone watching this why the Belmont decided to shorten it up and go from that 1.5 miles to the 1 1/8?
I think because, and again, we didn't get like an official thing, but the consensus that it seems to be online is basically that by the time you get to the Belmont, you've gotten through the first 2 legs of the Triple Crown. They're the short races. Here's the true test of the champion. Who can outlast all these horses to try to win the big one and have the stamina and the strength to do these things? And they just realized that until these horses have been battle tested in the Derby and the Preakness, they might lose these horses and not get enough entries if they say, well, we're going to keep it at 1.5 miles and it's the first race. Somebody might be like, well, you know what? I'm going to go race in the Derby and the Preakness and forget the Belmont because I don't even want to, I don't think my horse can go 1.5 miles. Maybe if they were in the regular order and by the time you got through the Derby and the Preakness, you might say to yourself, you know what? I think this horse can make it 1.5 miles. But to ask that of the trainers and the horses and the owners, it's a big ask. So I think they did the right thing and they were, they shortened it up. The other interesting thing, of course, is that they decided not to wait and do it after the other races. And I think that that's an easy thing. 2 things, of course. Number one is Saratoga runs all summer long and ends basically right around the same time that the Derby's going to be this year. And usually after that, they might be going back to Aqueduct. They might be going back to Belmont. But, of course, Saturdays in the fall, what are you dealing with? You're dealing with college football. And that's a monster. No one wants to go up against college football. So I think they were probably smart in the way that they did it. Now, the Derby is going to still go up against college football, and so is the Preakness. But as we all know, the Derby's the Derby, right?
That's right.
And if the same horse wins the Derby and the Belmont this year, the Preakness is kind of the big deal. And if you have a Triple Crown in play, I think people will tune in for the Preakness, even if it's at 7 o'clock and, it's right around the same time that, I don't know, Florida and Georgia are kicking off someplace. You'll still get enough people watching to care. So it's no surprise that the Belmont decided to go early and do it now.
If everything goes well in this country with the COVID situation, this fall will be the greatest sports season in probably our lives ever. I mean, you will have Triple Crown races. You'll have golf majors. You'll have maybe the NHL and NHL or NBA playoffs still finishing up, like toward the end. You'll have NFL and college football. Maybe baseball will still be going, in that September, or early October. I mean, that stretch right there could be maybe the greatest 2 months of sports, Ryan, that we might ever see, as long as they all go on schedule.
Right. And again, you hope that things go the way it's supposed to. And New York seems to be trending in the right area. Unfortunately, other parts of the country, not so much.
Right.
But if we get to that point, it'll be an incredible stretch, not just for people watching, but also for people wagering on these things. So, it's certainly exciting to think about. So hopefully we all get there together.
Absolutely. All right. Before we get into breaking down the race itself, Ryan, just for everybody listening that regularly visits Batavia Downs, just kind of what are some of the updates in terms of the phase that we're in right now in New York State? I know you have some of your restaurants are already been open. Some things are back up and running in normal capacity. Some, of course, with social distancing guidelines. Can you just update everybody on what is open, what's available, and what's to come?
Sure. So Batavia Bets is open all the time. BataviaBets.com. You can just log on and do that. The OTB branches are open in every single area, both Rochester and Buffalo at this point in time. Advanced wagering is on Friday, and then you can wager on Saturday. Some of the easy bets that are the restaurants, they're open. Unfortunately, by this time that we have the race this weekend, some Phase 4 will not have happened in some places. So some of the easy bets we have that are in bowling alleys and other places, they won't be open. But again, you can make your wager at a branch or on BataviaBets.com, which is easy enough. Here at Batavia Downs, the gaming floor still remains closed at this time. However, our restaurant is open on Fridays and Saturdays. So Fortune's Restaurant is open. You can either enter through the valet entrance and park in the valet area. Valet's not running, so there's plenty of spots.
Yep.
Or you can go through the front entrance, go up the stairs through the back where our simulcast center is, and then down the elevator if you want to do it that way too. The simulcast center is also going to be open this weekend. That's going to be on Friday and Saturday. And on Saturday from 3 to 7, we're going to have a bar upstairs at the simulcast center. So if you want to come and bet the ponies, you can do that and get yourself a cocktail. Of course, a mask is mandatory at all the OTB branches and at Batavia Downs. When you are seated at your table at Fortune's, of course, you can take your mask off to eat and drink. But we got something special running this weekend because the Belmont will be here and you can wager on it. And that's the Belmont Special. For just $25, you're going to get two 10-ounce steaks. You're going to get a $5 bet on the Belmont Stakes, and you're going to get two $10 free plays that'll be redeemable on the gaming floor once, of course, the gaming floor opens. So if you've got a free program, a free bet, and two $10 free plays, that right there is your $25. It's like getting the stakes for free. So this special actually runs on Friday even, the day before, and on Saturday. So we're really hoping that this allows people to kind of come in and make their bets and have a little bit of a normalcy there. It's not like when we have our blowout Belmont party with the Bourbon Fest like we had last year or the year before that, and we have the Colton RV show out in the parking lot and big cash drawings. You know, those will have to wait for another day, but at least we can do a little bit of the Belmont stuff that we want to do in the interim. So that's what's happening at Batavia Downs, and you can buy the Belmont Breeze, which is the Belmont official drink, for $2.50 at the Gatsby Bar. So our Gatsby Bar is going to be open on Friday night as well and Saturday. So.
Okay, excellent. Good ideas there if you're looking for something to do on Saturday for the 152nd running of this Belmont Stakes. Okay, the race itself, Ryan, let's break it down. Let's start with just a couple of the favorites. Who are some of the big names that are likely people are going to bet on a lot?
So, of course, the number 8 horse is Tiz the Law. It's, Manuel Franco is the jockey and Barclay Tagg is the trainer. This horse is unbelievable. First in the Florida Derby, he won the Champagne Grade 1 race as a 2-year-old at Belmont Park, so he's familiar with the track. You also have to come into play here. We've got a few of the folks that were supposed to be racing, Nadal and actually another one of the horses. They got sick or they got injured, so they're not actually racing. So you don't necessarily have the greatest, group of horses here today, but at the same time, it's still a very good, group. You've got all the best jockeys here. Javier Castellano's out there, Jose Ortiz, Gerardo Ortiz Jr. Todd Pletcher's got 2 horses. He's won 3 Belmonts. Joe Rosario's on Max Player, the number 3. He won last year's Belmont. So you've got a good group of horses, I think, for the situation we're in, let's say. And Tiz the Law, the number 8, looks to be the horse to beat. A lot of people are talking about the number 1, Tap It to Win. He's going to be a speed horse, but the problem is he drew the worst post if you're the speed horse, which is the 1. If he doesn't break well and get out front, he's going to be toast because he's going to get pinched. The 2 horses are going to pinch him against the rail. And then at that point in time, he's got to get through traffic to get back to the front. When you're a speed horse, you don't want that. You want to get right out to the front. Yeah. So if you're a speed horse, you want to be on those outside posts. So again, we're taking a look at the different ways that the horses are going to race, being it's only a mile and an eighth instead of a full mile and a half. But the number 10 Pneumatic, who's 8-1 with Ricardo Santana on his back, and Steve Asmussen is the trainer. A couple starts there, third at Churchill Downs in late May, but a lot of people are talking about this horse, very good value at 8-1. And, the way I'm looking at it, I'm going to be using the 8 and the 10. I'm going to be using the 2, Sole Volante, who was second in the Tampa Bay Derby, but did win an allowance race at Gulfstream and has won 4 of 6 lifetime starts. So I got the 8, the 10, the 2, and my long shot is Max Player, the 3. So I'm going to be doing some various bets when it comes to trifectas and superfectas using the 8, 10, 2, and 3. Now, Todd is going to be at the OTB branch for your Rochester listeners. He's going to be out in Rochester at the Gates branch. And we're going to have OTB branch personnel. Of course, people are at the OTB branches, but we're going to have, like we always have for the Derby, volunteers helping you place your wagers. They're going to be strewn throughout the OTB branches in Buffalo, Rochester, and Syracuse. I myself, because Batavia Downs is not going to be open for our parties, I'll actually be at the Worley branch. So I'll be there from 12 till 5. So if you want to come on out and say hello, I'll be there with my Batavia Downs mask. And make sure you wear your mask too. It is mandatory, as I'll mention again. and I can help you make it, place your wager on the Belmont Stakes this Saturday.
Excellent. I'll probably come out and see you then, Ryan. That's where I got.
Yeah, I'll be there.
That's right.
Cool.
There is a couple of super long shots. We always like to mention them. We've got 4 left: the 6 horse and Jungle Runner, the 7 horse. Any good notes on them?
Well, 4 left, of course, is spelled the correct way for you golfers.
That's right. F-O-R-E.
So I was joking with Todd. I say 4 left probably at least a few times in our OTB or our Batavia Downs golf tournament every year. But Doug O'Neill from who is famous from having he was the trainer for I'll Have Another back in 2000, I think it was 12. This horse won the United Arab Emirates 2000, which is a grade 3 race, but it was all the way back in February. Pretty long layoff for this horse to come back and race here. His only other win before that was all the way back in 2019 in October. So it's a pretty long shot there. Jungle Runner, the 50-1. He was 8th in the Arkansas Derby, and he's only won 1 race his entire time. That was back in November. So not sure if that's anything to use. Maybe if you're going to do a low-budget superfecta, you throw them in there in 4th just in case they hit the board and make you some money. But, yeah, really the 8 is going to be very tough to beat. So if he gets a good enough trip, he seems to be the horse that's got the strength to win this thing.
Are you hearing that Tiz the Law has what it takes, that this could be a Triple Crown sort of type of year coming from him?
I think so, especially because he's got the lineage. He has Seattle Slew in his lineage. His great-grandfather was 4th in the Derby, so hit the board in the Derby back in 1997. So, he's got the breeding, and he has been successful winning the Florida Derby and winning that Champagne Grade 1 race at Belmont. I think that's a horse that certainly could stand the test of time. And, with the Belmont being the easiest, or I shouldn't say the easiest, but much easier than it usually is, if whatever horse wins this certainly puts himself in a great position to win all 3.
That's right. Okay, so the Belmont, the official post times listed is 5:42 p.m. I always joke with you, it's never on time. It's always later. So
right, and it's super early. Yeah.
It is.
It's usually 6:42, and that is wink, wink, 7 o'clock. So, yeah, but, yeah, it's early this year for some reason. So
yeah. It's on NBC. Coverage starts at 3 o'clock. For all of you WGR loyal listeners, we'll have coverage of the race as well. Unfortunately, our normal show that myself and Dan Cave normally host, we won't have, but we will have Todd Height's picks on. He's going to be on earlier on Sports Talk Saturday with Nate. And I know, Ryan, you'll be checking in as well throughout your time there at the Worley OTP branch there by the airport. So a lot of opportunities to kind of get some insight.
Yeah, I think actually Joe's filling in for Nate on Saturday.
Oh, okay, so you got Joe. Okay.
Yeah, so Joe's going to be there. Todd will be on at 1:45, and I know that throughout the day I might call Joe and just text him some updates, or maybe he'll have me on for a quick, hello or something. But yeah, we're looking forward to seeing everybody out at the OTB branches. And again, it's no different than what it probably was before. You come in, you make your bet, and you head home and watch it at home. So we're just glad to be back open. Looking forward to hopefully having the gaming facility open at some point here in the next 2 weeks, if all goes well with the state and the regulations. But, this is a little bit of a sense of normalcy here, our first Triple Crown race this year. So looking forward to it.
That's right. Hopefully for the next one, we'll be live in person doing the show, Ryan.
That's right. Labor Day weekend. Keep your calendar clear there.
Okay, will do. Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate it.
Thanks for the time, Brian.
Yep. Ryan Hasenauer, the Director of Marketing for Batavia Downs Gaming and Hotel. And, of course, you want to make any wager, BataviaBets.com. You can also follow him on Twitter as well, at Batavia Downs. We'll be also posting this on our Tee to Green YouTube page, so you can check it out there, as well as from our Twitter account at T2G Buffalo, and as well my own personal account as well, at Brian WGR. Thanks again to Ryan for joining us, and we'll talk to you next time right here on our Tee to Green Extra.